Hi, everybody. This is Delia Colvin with Flyride Education, and we're going to talk about what you don't know. There's been a lot of changes in the way pilots get their briefings, and basically prior to 2004, pilots were required to either speak to a dispatcher and get a report from them on what weather conditions they were going to encounter, or do a briefing talking to a trained weather briefer. That's all changed. Pilots now go online, and part of the art of the weather brief I see has been lost. But the problem is that you don't know what you don't know. I think of Scott Crossfield, who at one time was the most experienced rocket plane pilot in the world. He was in his hotel room in Alabama, flying back home to Manassas. He got a standard weather brief at 8 a.m., drove to the airport, did a very thorough pre-flight on his aircraft, and departed about 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Said, it doesn't look too bad. One of the things that you have to know for this part of the country, when you're looking at Alabama, when you're looking at up over the Appalachians, you get a flow either way that you're going here, either from the Atlantic or from the Gulf. And then when you have this mountain range down here, what it really means is that if you are flying in that part of the country and it's any time from spring to fall, and you have a flow coming off from either the Gulf or the Atlantic, and you have any kind of low pressure system, any kind of frontal system, you're going to get monsters there. As a matter of fact, it's one of the few places in the country where the air traffic controllers used to turn over their jumbo jets to us at FlightWatch to work them through that system. So Scott Crossfield got his briefing at 8 a.m. By about 10 o'clock, the thunderstorms started forming, and he was crossing the base of those Appalachians and flew right into a cell of extreme precipitation. And we lost one of our great pilots. I found if pilots know what they're looking at, if they know exactly how to get that standard weather brief and how to evaluate it, they can stay safe, they can keep their family and friends safe. And I've dedicated my life to a large portion of that. I do webinars as a volunteer on a regular basis. However, when pilots came to me and asked me to create a system so that they could actually learn how to do a safe briefing for themselves, I created a program called the TRIO. I believe it's a must for all pilots who prefer to self-brief. Really, truly, if you're flying, you're going to have to be able to evaluate weather and what you're looking at and know the different sites to go through to confirm it. There are 3 on-demand training videos that you can watch time and time again at your own convenience. And to top it off, you're going to qualify for Masters and Advanced Wings credits. Now, what is that all about? If you are a pilot, you know that you have to get a check ride every so often. Well, if you participate in the Wings program, they could see that as continuing education and you don't have to. However, you do have to have those Masters and Advanced Wings credits. So I took this program down to the FAA safety office and I asked them, now, with this, does it qualify for Masters and Advanced Wings credits? Because there's very few courses that will actually offer those. They said not only does it qualify, but every video within our program qualified for Masters and Advanced Wings credits. And so I was pretty thrilled with that. Also, you're going to learn the vital steps to predicting unforecast severe weather. 3 things you have to know when you're looking at radar. If you're looking at that data link radar in the cockpit and making decisions, you're walking into a very dangerous situation, potentially. So you got to know how to analyze that. Also, we're going to talk about the 8 pieces of the puzzle that can save your life in specific adverse conditions. You're going to learn how to recognize and avoid them. Further, you're going to get a copy of my book 1 of my 3-book series, The Pre-Flight Brief. This is going to teach you how to get that good standard weather briefing. I have student pilots use it, and I have all the way up to ATP's CFIIs that use it. As a matter of fact, we just got an email last week from a pilot that said that he read the book and then took it over to his CFI and said, here, you need to read this. So having learned how to fly and kind of been thrown to the wolf with briefers, that's why I wrote this book. That's why I prepared this program. Also, you're going to get our program, the weather detection chart. Now, this is a program that as you go through it, you're going to be able to look at each element of a standard weather briefing and say, are the conditions conducive in this area for IFR conditions, mountain obscuration, icing, turbulence, mountain wave, mechanical turbulence, thunderstorms, and you're going to be able to get a very good picture of what's safe and what's not. We're going to be actually turning that into an app soon. Now, the Trio comes with 3 on-demand training videos, plus you're going to get a bonus video called The Hazards. And with that, we will take each point in the weather detection tools, each adverse condition, and we'll go through and show you exactly what to look for. You can watch that before you watch the rest of the hazards. And what we've prepared now is we have an additional point on it where we walk student pilots through contacting flight service and learning how to prepare themselves for the world of self-briefing, and then move them up to a point where they're able to understand what the briefer is saying. Then you'll go into the hazards, learning what you're looking for in each hazard and how to identify them. And then you'll go into the basics of weather. We are not going into a meteorological class, that's for sure. This is going to be very simple, very useful information that you'll be able to look at it and say, yeah, that we have this hazard, and you'll be able to recognize the adverse conditions before they've actually formed. And then you're going to also get my ebook, Aviation Weather Made Easy, the pre-flight brief, and the weather detection analysis chart. It's a $213 value. We're offering it right now at $119. I do think this is a great program. That's what pilots tell me. I've been passionate about helping pilots learn about weather for a very long time. I hope you'll join me. You can click on the link below and it'll take you right over to our site and you'll be able to get this. I look forward to seeing you on that. We're just releasing our newest version. I can't wait for you to be a part of this.